with the sound of music.
The day of trials is at hand, where we separate the men from the boys. With trepidation, I turn on the monitor and activate the onboard cameras. For my first test aircraft, I use my venerable Arcus M glider. Something safe, I think, slow and forgiving. A perfect platform for my newbie FPV flying. With everything in place, I self-launch. Then quickly move to sit at the video downlink, which I immediately notice has quite a bit of static with the 25 milliwatt transmitter. I suspect a bit of user error, so I bring her back down, hoping that I can land somewhere, preferably within a few miles of where I took off. I decide to move the antenna to the outside of the canopy, far away from all other electronics. After an embarrassingly botched attempt at launch, I was finally up for another test. This time, the level of static is noticeably less prevalent. The static is still there, but at least it doesn't look like I'm being jammed by the military. With my confidence improving by leaps and bounds, I decide to land once more and upgrade to the high-powered 600 milliwatt transmitter. It is at this point that fellow club member James decides to steal a little of my video himself, proving that the Tactic FPV is fully compatible with Fat Shark goggles. This time, the video link is nearly static-free. At 25 times more power, even James noticed the improved video quality. You can just see the joy on his face, I think. To get an idea of the difference, here is a side-by-side comparison of the same flight profile with a license-free low-power transmitter on the left and a high-powered transmitter on the right. While the low-power transmitter is usable, you have to be realistic about its limitations. Note that these flights are all with the stock antennas. Certain types of antennas can improve the signal depending on the types of flying you do. Well, enough playing with the gliders. It's time to move on to something more ambitious.
Okay, so after flying around a little bit with the slow and docile glider, I thought, well, I want to try something a little more better performance with wheels that can take off and land. So I thought, well, how about something like this?
My venerable Chaos 60. A perfect mount for FPV. Large, stable, and easy to fly. With a little bit of Velcro here and there, she was ready. Ready to see if I can take off, fly the pattern, and land just by using the onboard camera.
All right.
To avoid the temptation of cheating, I turned my back to the plane and the runway. For safety, I did have an observer in case of an emergency. Hopefully, he won't be needed.
Taxi out. Looks like I'm lined up. All right. Controls set. Dynatherms connected. Mega thrusters are go.
Throttle to full.
And we're off. We are up. Climb, baby, climb. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Turn back around.
Flying just by the monitor gives you a pretty narrow field of view, so it was easy to get a bit out of position.
There we go, a little too much of a turn. I think I can see my house from here.
Or at least somebody's house.
Yes, looks like I'm about parallel to the runway.
All too soon, it was time to land.
Yeah, piece of cake. Look at that. Oh, looks like we're a little low. Where's the runway? That looks like a runway.
Indeed it is.
All right, got the power.
Even close to the runway, it was difficult to judge speed. Could I make a good judgment when to flare?
Oh, yes. Yes. Piece of pie, yes. Somebody rip off my shirt. I've soloed.
I did it. My first ever FPV takeoff to landing. And the plane's still in one piece.
So flying FPV is really neat. I can easily see the hype about it. It was like flying a real-life flight simulator game. And full disclosure, I played a lot of flight simulator games. It's hard to tell in the video, but I found the tactic monitor pretty easy to see in the daytime. You can crank up the brightness without losing much contrast, and the sun shield helps quite a bit. As I mentioned, the 25 milliwatt transmitter is workable if you're very careful with antenna placement. Though the range is limited, the company's 1,000-foot range claims seem to be pretty accurate under the best conditions. But if you spend the effort to get a ham license, you will be rewarded with being able to use a much more powerful transmitter. Being able to use the ultra-popular Fat Shark brand of goggles and cameras also is a major plus for the Tactic system. I really look forward to experimenting more with this system. I wonder if I could fly a 3D helicopter in FPV. I'm a man now.